History isn't just what happened, it's what almost happened. A single vote, one decision, one moment. But what if events went another way? Join us on the journey as we explore what if the Triangle Shirtwaist factory fire never happened. On March 25, 1911, a fire broke out inside a garment factory in New York City. Inside the Triangle Waste Company, a scrap bin ignited. Locked doors trapped workers. Fire spread rapidly. 146 people died. In response, laws were created. Standards were enforced. The balance between labor and capital shifted, if only slightly. That is the history that exists. But this is not that world. In this version of history, the fire never happens. The spark never catches. The day ends quietly. And because it does, nothing forces change. The Triangle Waste Company continues operations. Conditions remain unchanged. Owned by Max Planck and Isaac Harris, it becomes one of many factories operating under the same model. Locked doors, minimal safety, maximum output, not an exception, a standard. Without a defining tragedy, reform never fully materializes. Workplace safety becomes inconsistent, optional, dependent on cost. Deaths occur, but in small numbers, spread out, easy to ignore. The system learns that it does not need to change, only to endure. As industry grows, wealth accumulates at the top. Without strong labor protections, wages stagnate, benefits shrink. Workers become interchangeable. The gap between labor and capital widens steadily, then dramatically, then permanently. Over time, something deeper changes. Work is no longer seen as a path to stability. It becomes survival. Risk is normalized. Injury is expected. Early death is understood, not as failure of the system, but as part of it. By the late 20th century, corporations begin to operate beyond regulation, not because laws don't exist, but because enforcement weakens. Governments rely on industry. Industry influences policy. The relationship shifts. Regulation becomes negotiation. Accountability becomes optional. The divide between wealth and labor becomes visible, then unavoidable. Cities begin to separate corporate districts with security and infrastructure, worker zones with aging systems and limited services. Mobility declines, upward movement slows, then stops. Workers organize again, strikes emerge, protests grow. But without a history of successful reform, these efforts are met with resistance. Replacement workers, private security, legal suppression. The system absorbs pressure without changing. At first, eventually, pressure builds beyond containment. Protests become confrontations. Confrontations become coordinated disruption. Supply chains are targeted. Factories shut down. Warehouses are occupied. The response is immediate. Security expands. Surveillance increases. Control tightens. Technology evolves, not to protect workers, but to monitor them. In warehouses and factories, movement is tracked. Output is measured in real time. Breaks are timed and limited. Safety exists, but only where it protects productivity. Workers are managed like systems, optimized, replaceable. At this point, the divide is complete. Workers no longer believe in the system. Employers no longer pretend to represent them. The idea of shared economic participation disappears. Society no longer functions as a whole. It fractures into roles. Conflict becomes normalized, not constant, but recurring. Organized labor groups sabotage infrastructure. Corporate entities respond with force. In some regions, industrial zones are heavily guarded. Executive movement is restricted. Wealth is concealed. The system becomes defensive. By the early 21st century, the consequences are fully realized. A world defined by extreme inequality, minimal worker protection, persistent instability, not collapsed, but hardened. A system that continues to function while failing the majority within it. All of it traces back to a moment that never happened. A fire that never forced a reckoning. A tragedy that never unified outrage. Without it, the system was never corrected. They evolve, not toward fairness, but toward efficiency. And efficiency, without accountability, eventually becomes something else. Something colder, something harder, something that no longer needs to hide what it has become. What are history's what-ifs you'd like to see explored? leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe.